Hang Dao's ex-lover, who works as a relationship counselor in a dating group, was shocked by a comment from a guest, causing everyone to laugh hysterically. If you love someone like this, don't comfort others anymore. But I was trembling, not daring to look directly at her, because I clearly remembered that we had broken up peacefully. After breaking up with my famous ex, this was the first time we met again. Again on a live dating show. One second I thought this time I would be famous. The next second I saw Lu Laikyin walking in. The expression on my face immediately collapsed. It's over, my work is done. Obviously, I told Ms. Vong, my manager, that I absolutely would not accept any programs or movies related to Lu Laikyin. But now looking at the woman not far away, I felt my eyes darken. I opened the phone to ask Ms. Vong what was going on, but when I looked at the chat box, I discovered that the message was wrong. Ms. Vong, in the future, all programs and movies related to Lu and Yin will be accepted. There is only one word difference between refusing and accepting everything. Looking outside, the camera saw Ms. Vong giving me a thumbs up. I can only say, as expected of a gold manager, the execution ability is really too fast. Just finished texting yesterday. Today it was arranged for Lu and Yin to share a bucket. Whether I'm right or wrong, she should do it first. The program has just started. The relationship counselors introduced themselves one after another, but seeing Lu Laikyin standing next to me, I immediately retreated like a quail, trying to minimize my existence. But this person really doesn't know how to avoid anything. Before, when we were still in love, she kept following me and wanting to play the lottery with me. Every time I flatly refused, not because of bad feelings, but because her image in real life is cold and arrogant. But every time he faced me, his originally expressionless face was filled with a foolish smile, like a noble flower that had been dragged down to earth and covered in dust before turning into a fool. Before, when we were in love, her schedule was always sent to my phone immediately. After breaking up, I also tried to avoid appearing in the same frame. When I no longer received her schedule, I remembered and reminded Ms. Vong that I hope she and I don't run into each other. As a result, this typing error occurred. And this is the first meeting again after 2 months of separation. It was clear that with other relationship advisors, she only nodded in greeting and did not shake hands. But when it was my turn, she directly grabbed my hand that was placed on her side, looking at me with tears in her eyes as if she already knew I would participate in this program. She wore the white dress I once gave her. It's obviously just a normal look, but she dresses like a model. No Quan is sophisticated, but his face is too thin. Even using concealer still cannot hide dark circles under the eyes. The moment she saw me, her eyes immediately turned red. I looked up at her, but I knew this was her usual trick. When we first met, we had an argument, and she was so angry that she cried out loud. I quickly comforted her and kept asking her why. I just hummed and said one sentence. A woman's tears are a man's stimulant. Just because of this one sentence, from then on, every time she quarreled, she made the most of her eyes, deliberately revealing them, looking so pitiful that I couldn't bear to get angry every time. But this time, I just quietly looked at her. Although I still followed my habit of softening a bit, I didn't open my mouth. After a few deep breaths, it seemed like she was finally able to control her emotions. Kai Ba Dad. When she called my name, I was a little stunned. Before breaking up, she called me all sorts of nicknames. Brother Kai, classmate Chu Kai, even baby Dat Dat. But when calling Kai Ba Dat's name directly, it is usually only in special situations. I remember before, whenever I was so busy that I was exhausted, she would softly call me that, then jump into my arms. The voice pulled me back to reality, but the images still lingered in my head. It seemed like she realized I was in a daze, so she unconsciously held my hand tighter. Hello, nice to meet you. The smile on her face was stiff and forced, the corners of her lips as if they would immediately drop. Before I could respond, she quickly withdrew her hand. The program started recording. I could feel someone's eyes constantly following me. No need to guess, it's Lu Laikyin. During the hour of broadcasting in front of the window, she only showed her profile. In the end, even the audience realized something was unusual. Miss Lu has a twisted neck today? Why do you keep looking at Mr. Kai? I signed up for VIP to see Lu Laikyin, but now I can't even see her from the front. Today, she just nodded to everyone, but only Kai shook hands. Comments erupted loudly, but Lu Laikyin didn't hold back at all. but looked at me even more attentively. Finally, I had no choice but to cover my mouth with my hand and speak softly. Do you want everyone to know that we were together? This expression of yours is too obvious. I told you, it was right that I didn't agree to film the show with you at first. These 3 sentences made Lu and Yin stiffen for a whole minute. I just saw her stunned, then stiffly turned her head away. But during the time that followed, I still felt her eyes always looking at me. However, every time I turned around, I could only see the back of her head deliberately turned away. Okay, I told her to avoid it. It turns out she's only avoiding me. In the program, love experts must answer questions. The person assigned to work with Lu like Yin is male star Lam Ning. He was just rejected by the female guest right on the show. At first, the two seemed to get along, but the female guest turned out to be a genuine sea king. Not only vague with Lam Ning, but also interested in other male guests on the small screen connected to the observation room. Lam Ning's eyes were red. I just want a sincere love, am I wrong? Before hearing this question, Lu Laikyin still confidently looked towards me. But as soon as she heard it, she immediately broke down. At first I wanted to answer calmly, but I couldn't hold back. 2 lines of tears rolled down. His voice was so choked that he couldn't utter a word. First of all, what you said made me a little uncomfortable. I think it's not important. I'm not saying that love must be everything to a person. Love is actually just a part of our lives. Sorry, I'm a bit emotional. I just believe that love must be serious. If you promise a lifetime, it means a lifetime to me. Love must be sincere. I understand the sadness in your heart because I'm also very sad. Live commentary exploded. Sister Lu, I know you're in a hurry, but you're even weaker than other people. Or just stop comforting anyone else. Sister Lu does have a set of skills to comfort others, but comforting yourself is another matter. I don't dare to imagine why Lu and Yin are looking for me. I ran away in panic. She angrily pulled me into her car and then used only one hand to control the steering wheel, driving straight to the 6-story villa. Quickly entering the room, dodging me onto the luxurious bed, both sophisticated and equally luxurious. She held my hands tightly and raised them above her head. Red eyes, hoarse voice said, "Aren't you very good? Why don't you run anymore?" Then she squeezed my waist, hot tears falling down my back, but opened her mouth full of frustration. "Don't leave me, okay?" I really didn't dare to think about it. Not to say that she was thinking too much. Then Lam Ning's question was like a star stabbing straight at me. What? Just taking advantage of my soft heart. Obviously knowing it's not necessary, but still deliberately saying such misleading words. Before waiting for Lu or Yin to make a move, I quickly turned off the mic first. Turn it off, then I can speak with confidence. Lu like Yin, you did it on purpose, right? My voice was low. Perhaps this was the first time I was seriously angry at her. Previously, when we were together, I always refused to participate. Even when going to visit her, I also tried to arrange different times to avoid meeting her. But this person always found a way to accidentally bump into me, then deviate from the greeting, like when signing autographs on the red carpet, then accidentally going in the wrong direction at the Long Ash, Massachusetts. She deliberately looked at me across the seat. Then when she met my eyes, she obediently smiled softly. I used to think of those things as child's play between 2 people who loved each other, but this time it was different. This time it was blatantly intentional. I thought you agreed to join the program because you thought we had unfinished business, but I was interrupted. I typed the wrong message. I was about to nag Ms. Vong that I wouldn't accept any more jobs related to you in the future, but I accidentally typed it wrong and accepted it. This is my fault for making you misunderstand, but I hope that after explaining it clearly, you can understand what I mean. She only had 3 sentences left, but she already made Liu's eyes turn red. I understand. She knows clearly when she's pretending to be cold to attract my attention and sympathy, knows when she's really sad. This time it's real. I took the tissue, still holding it tightly in my hand, and stuffed it into Liu's hand like Yin. After that, I left her noodle room not long ago. After Lu, Yin also walked out of the noodle room, regaining her composure, but everyone's ambiguous eyes were still directed towards us. Even though the time was intentionally skewed, in the end, because the words were too ambiguous, the camera caught special attention. MC did not ignore this topic. Miss Lu has her emotions stabilized? This time she won't lose her easily anymore, right? In the past, Miss Lu always had a cold image, but this time she's so emotional. Is it because there is someone special here? As if afraid that I would continue to be angry. This time she quickly took the bride's flag and seriously explained in front of the camera. It's so embarrassing. Before that, I asked Mr. Kai to practice dialogue to help me rehearse a scene, which caused everyone to misunderstand. I hope everyone will pay attention to my next film, and I also hope to have the opportunity to cooperate with Mr. Kai once. Sincere words, sincere attitude. It's just that netizens do not agree with this explanation. Does Ms. Liu think that just by finding an excuse she can trick us? Are you kidding? I've never seen a script where she directly says she likes the three-peat room. I would like to testify. I recently read Mr. Kai's post and discovered that when he had an argument with an anti-fiend, and Fiend said he liked a female artist with poor character. He replied that her butt was as flat as a pie. So can I like that type? From there, it can be seen that Kai Ba-dat really likes the three-zone ring, but is not comfortable saying it directly. This explanation is clearly because Liu and Yin saw that Ba-dat was angry, so they thought of it to appease him. I looked at Liu like Yin. My eyes were a bit awkward. Other advisors who heard Liu's explanation like Yin also took advantage of that and continued, bringing the topic back to the previously interrupted Q&A program. Finally, after successfully connecting the image, I still randomly asked questions. Liu knew Yin answered correctly. This time he was clearly a bit hesitated, and then spoke. Or should I change the question to another one? I'll rethink the previous question. It's actually a bit ugly. I thought Liu and Yin would agree, but she just shook her head. This time, she no longer intentionally made her eyes red to attract my attention, but instead took the mulberry flag and tilted her head slightly, as if she were telling someone. Actually, what you want is not wrong. It's just that many people have misunderstood the point. Sincerity is the most important thing. In the past, I also misunderstood, thinking that as long as I made the other person happy and followed him, the relationship would not have quarrels. There would be no unhappy moments. Even if I used a few little tricks, it was just to make him happy, but I forgot the two words sincerity. Because I was always tolerated, I couldn't clearly see my mistakes. I believe that you will definitely find a sincere love. This time, the person on the small screen was reddened by those words, his eyes nodding vigorously. Miss Liu, you will definitely find that love again. After saying this, I don't know if I was mistaken or not. His eyes glanced slightly towards me. After that, the other advisor's questions were answered smoothly. I don't know if it was prearranged by the program team or not. I've just been wondering about Lang Nin's question. After successfully connecting the image, he asked a question. Mr. Kai, actually I want to ask you, does anyone like it? Before asking questions, the MC should have checked first. Normal content will not have such personal questions. I looked over at the director and saw that he had no intention of stopping me. Maybe it's because the story between me and Liu like Yin before caused a bit of damage. They probably want to take this opportunity to increase the heat for the program. Liu knew Yin stood next to her. As soon as she heard the question, her eyebrows raised noticeably. She reflexively wanted to grab the flag in my hand, but as soon as she raised her hand, she stopped and turned her head to see my reaction. Actually, this question is very easy to answer. I speak frankly according to my thoughts. Yes, I have someone I like. Liu and Yin like me were together for about a year and a half, but we broke up just 2 months ago. It's impossible for the newspaper to not like us anymore. But after answering, I unconsciously looked at Liu and Yin next to me, thinking she would secretly laugh happily. He stood still for a long time, until the small screen was completely disconnected. Then she regained consciousness and looked towards the camera. As I turned away, I then used my hand to cover my mouth and softly whispered in my ear, Kai Ba-dat, you also have someone you like. I looked at Liu's slightly red ears like Yin, then looked away and coldly replied, yes, I know. But right after that, I unconsciously touched my ear and felt it was hot. This program is a parallel broadcast format. On one side are the love advisors. On the other side are the guests. Guests of the original practice show. The program plans to focus on practice guests. But unexpectedly, the director suddenly announced that a special advisor would participate. When the door rang, I wondered who it was. As a result, when I saw a new advisor come in, I had to admit that the program really knew how to create tension. Previously I had a quite popular movie. The female lead is Tam Hyu-so. Her character is Tan Mai Truk Ma to me. This couple was once enthusiastically hated by netizens because of their media appeal. The manager did not intervene, but back then, Lu Nu-yin always considered her an imaginary love rival. Every time the movie comes on, she turns on the TV to watch it, then points at Tam Hyo-so's face and asks me, "Who is more beautiful this time?" Finally, I met a real person. I was just about to step up to say hello when Lu Nu-yin strode straight towards me, not waiting for the other person to speak. She circled Tam Hyo-so several times. Glancing 3 times down to Tam Hyo-so's waist, I seemed to understand something. The first time we met, I stared at his butt. I asked her, "Is that polite?" I quickly stepped forward to block her view. "Long time no see, Miss Tam." Long time no see. The atmosphere between Tam Hyo-so and I was originally very good, but next to me, there was a constant coughing sound. Hi. I haven't seen you for a long time. Everyone hasn't seen you for a long time, right? I could clearly see that Tam Hyo-so was smiling, but his expression gradually changed. She looked at Lu Nu-yin with a questioning expression, then she tentatively said, "Miss Lu, I've heard of you before. Long time no see." Normal people who hear this sentence will understand it as being polite. But clearly, Lu Nu-yin is not an ordinary person. She looked at me, then looked at Tam Hyo-so. A smile appeared on her face, but the next sentence made me want to darken my face. "Heard of my name? So you also heard Uncle Dat praise me for CG, right? It's okay. Don't be jealous. Just exercise regularly and you can get it." After speaking, she especially patted Tam Hyo-so's shoulder. "This is encouragement, Uncle Dat." After listening to Lu Nu-yin's words, I only had one feeling. If I'm angry to death tonight, I'll get up from the ground in the night. Then I'll write that Lu Nu-yin is the murderer who made me angry. The program was completely chaotic at this point. Tam Hyo-so looked extremely scared. Isn't this show spinning the emotional roller coaster? Why is it already talking about this? Not to mention Tam Hyo-so, even I find Lu Nu-yin unreasonable. Is this the cold star you used to be? The person before looked at everyone without any expression. After Tam Hyo-so arrived, the host began announcing the next part. At dinner, the guests have to buy the ingredients and cook themselves, while the love experts don't need to buy, but still have to cook themselves. After choosing the ingredients, everyone goes to the kitchen in order. It's just my turn. I look at Tam Hyo-so on the left, then look at Lu Nu-yin on the right. Faces full of doubt. What's so urgent about you two? Is it urgent or not? 2 different answers rang out at the same time. I looked at Tam Hyo-so and signaled her to do it first. Anyway, my dish is simpler. If you're in a hurry, just do it first. Having finished speaking, I immediately left, while Lu Nu-yin next to me followed me like a tail. It seems like from the moment I said, "I have someone I like," her cold image completely disappeared. In less than half an hour, Tam Hyo-so's dish was finished. This time, when she entered the kitchen, she did not follow. On the contrary, Lu Nu-yin insisted on helping me, even pretending to take an apron and asking me to tie it for her. "Kaibadat, my hands are dirty. Someone else has to use the apron. It's not good to get it dirty. Can you help me?" I looked at the oil stain intentionally on her hand and felt a headache. What's dirty? Obviously, it was intentionally dirty. I originally intended to take the bottle of oil next to me and pour it into the pan, but she took it away. What she said made my wrists tired of holding the oil bottle. When it was time to pour the oil, I waited to look at her. My hands trembled. The oil splashed all over my hands. Now, one clean hand holds up the apron, and the other is deliberately unwashed. Lu Nu-yin looked at me. We looked at each other for half a minute. In the end, I still took the apron for her. Anyway, having more people help me cook, no matter how I think about it, I don't think I'm at a loss. Bend down the apron string over your neck. Her soft hair brushed against my palm, causing an itchy feeling. Then tie the strap in the back. In the hot summer, everyone dresses more loosely. I was about to tie it a little loose, but Lu Nu-yin reminded me. "Kai Ba-dat, tie it a little tighter, the tie is in the front." I stood behind, bent down and tied it up. Obviously, there's still a distance between us, but I clearly see every tight line on her body. The tie is tighter, making the silhouette of the waist even smaller. Seeing that I didn't move, Lu Nu-yin said, "Are you done yet?" I was speechless and replied in a low voice, "It's done." Originally, I intended to make this sweet and sour rib dish myself, but having Lu Nuyen join in saved me a lot of work. It's just that her problems keep coming one after another. Sometimes, Kai Ba Dad, can this rib be cut like this? Then again, Kai Bo Dad, can you skim the foam now? Then again, Kai Ba Dad, please show me the seasoning. I'll help you mix it. Obviously, I have made this stir-fried rib dish at home countless times, and Lu Nuyen has also eaten it quite a few times. Just by smelling it, I can guess what seasoning I'm missing. But now he has turned into a clueless student. He doesn't know anything. And if he doesn't know anything, he immediately asks. Looking at Lu Nuyen asking east and west questions, my hands finally couldn't stand it, sneaked away from the camera, and whispered, "Haven't you eaten this many times?" Before, when we were still together, Lu Nuyen even boldly told me whether this dish was made by you or not. I can even guess with my eyes closed. At that time, I just thought it was an unintentional joke. Until one day, my mother made sweet and sour ribs. Clearly the steps were the same. Even when my mother cooked, I stood next to watch the spices being added in the same ratio as I instructed. But Lu Nuyen still realized that it wasn't me who did it. But now looking at her doubtful face, why is she not frowning anymore? It was like he was really afraid of being recorded by the camera, but also like he intentionally wanted to get closer to me. Lu Nuyen translated little by little, finally shortening the distance between me and her to the point where we couldn't get any closer before speaking. It's been 2 months since we broke up. I've forgotten a little, Kentucky Badat. In the end, I still chased Lu Nuyen out the kitchen door, deciding to complete the final step myself. Looking at the pot of water boiling before my eyes, I was stunned for a moment. I don't know if it was because of her soft tone when she asked me to teach her again, or because her curves were so beautiful. When I came back to my senses, I smelled a terrible burning smell. When I grabbed the pan, I reflexively let it go when I got burned. Before I could react, Lu Nuyen, waiting at the kitchen door, grabbed my hand. My finger turned a little red, the burn clearly visible on my skin. Obviously, I was the one who got burned, but she was even more worried than me. The cold water washes away the heat, and your fingers immediately feel soothed. Lu Nuyen only said they hadn't eaten for a long time, so everyone fought with me. But as soon as he finished speaking, he was exposed by the famous relationship counselor next to him. "Miss Lu, is this dishonesty due to your lack of sense of security? In my opinion, it's because the plate of ribs was burned, so the teacher didn't let anyone eat it." 3 sentences left the top star speechless. Then, she looked at me, looked at the plate of ribs in her lap, then blinked and lied. "You must have seen it wrong. It's okay if I burn it, but not for him." In the evening, after eating, because the next exercise will be broadcast live continuously, the program team has already arranged the room. As soon as Noodle got back to her room, Cam came out to the phone, and I immediately rang. "Sister Vong is no longer old, my ancestors. You've been searching for TC all day. Now you're really famous. You have to pay attention to every word you say." I opened the search button and saw 3 keywords at the top. Lu Nuyen came. T-Ba-Dat reunited with her old love. Lu Nuyen came with a cold image of completely rummaging. Lu Nuyen cried every day, but the reason was Kai Ba-Dat. Before opening the comments section, I thought fans would curse loudly. But after opening it, I began to suspect that there was a problem with everyone's spirit. "Mr. Kai, can you teach me how to attract women? I also want to learn from you. Please open an online class. Mr. Kentucky, tell me how to find someone who is rich, beautiful, and loyal. Mr. Kai is my good brother. As long as you teach me how to love, I guarantee that I will immediately turn from an anti to a fan to a big fan." Humph, the antis and fans above don't fight. I've been a fan of Mr. Kai for 3 years now. I'm in all the big and small fan groups. I've watched every one of his movies. I didn't read any more, but just took a few interesting comments and conveniently made myself a little proud. I didn't expect that Kai Ba-Dat, a humble person like me, would be discovered. I told you, I'm very good at love. I wanted to teach you before, but you thought I was a fan master. Initially, I intended to send these lines to my close friends on the show, but at that moment my phone rang. I received a message from Lu Nuyen. "So Ba-Dat is going to teach you how to love?" It didn't look like it was supposed to belong to the group of friends, but was pushed down by Lu Nuyen. I suddenly didn't know how to answer. My finger touched the screen for a long time, but I still couldn't send anything. Maybe I hesitated too long. Lu Nuyen couldn't wait anymore. The original note display has turned into the other person logging in a message. Not long after, I received a new message. Sister Vong said that love needs to be sincere. Even though we haven't reunited yet, I think I should tell you my current thoughts. Baudat. I want to meet you. I should have refused, but this message was never sent. In the end, there was only one sentence left. I also want to see you. The door to the room gently opened and closed. The camera was completely hidden in the room with no lights on. The only bit of light was blocked outside the door. Just a lot of moonlight could be seen shining through the large windows. My eyes gradually adjusted to the darkness. I looked up towards the door. Where Lu Like-yin stood, her mouth said the most direct words that she wanted to meet me. But when she actually saw me, she hesitated for a long time before daring to come closer. I couldn't wait any longer. I finally stepped forward. You won't misunderstand me this time, will you? The voice carried careful scrutiny, clearly blaming. I spoke too harshly during the day, but I used such a pitiful tone. What if I say you misunderstood? Their eyes were different. I could faintly see the sparkling light in her eyes. Baudat, you understand me best. Obviously, you don't understand me. Lu is like Yin, so no one is curious. In the end, who made Lu Like Yin so heartbroken? Is it strange, Baudat? Just now, Ms. Lu kept looking at him. Moreover, when shaking hands, he was extremely proactive. Even the corners of his eyes were red with emotion on the show. I was trembling, not daring to look, going away, afraid that if I accidentally looked over I would immediately make eye contact with Lu Like Yin. Obviously, I remember when we broke up, the two of us were very peaceful. The day I proposed to break up, I thought she was going to say something. Unexpectedly, she just calmly looked at me and then fell asleep for a moment, then turned around and pushed me out of the house. I even heard her happily singing. Why is there such a fierce reaction now? As soon as I started screaming, the other love counselors in the observation room all ran to comfort Lu Like Yin. It's just me, Bate printed on the spot. It seems a bit strange, looking at the live camera right now. Surely Lu and Yin won't say anything that shouldn't be said. I really had no choice but to stand up and walk towards her. At first, I was just going to color a little and say a few words of consolation, but I just walked in. Lu and Yin were not asked to hide the fact that we were reunited, so she just let herself go. She replied still the same. Beauty Lang Mian's luck is not very good. This time, he drew Lu Like Yin. After successfully connecting the small image, Lang Mian saw that familiar face once again appear on the screen. I could clearly feel that his breath was held in tension as he spoke. Miss Lu, what a coincidence. This time, my question is very simple. Have you eaten today? Originally a simple question, Lu Like Yin made it complicated. How do you know I've already eaten? Baudat specially made sweet and sour ribs for me. The colors and flavors are perfect. It's really delicious. This made Lang Mian completely stunned. I didn't ask you what to eat. As soon as these words came out, Lu Like Yin couldn't stop. I know. Actually, you want to ask a lot of things. I can answer each of them one by one. Yes, Kai Baudat and I are back, and he also said he will never ask to break up again. Of course I believe. The question you want to ask the most is still how to love someone properly. But I'm not as good at this as Baudat. After all, on the internet, they say he teaches how to love. Let him answer this question. Having finished speaking, she thoughtfully turned the camera towards me. Over the past few days, the audience in the live broadcast room has gradually felt as helpless with Lu as Yin. Anyway, in recent episodes, when she opens her mouth, she talks about reuniting and absolutely doesn't mention breaking up anymore. We're together. Surprised, I couldn't help but look. Hyutsung secretly texted me privately. Kai Ca, I didn't mean anything. It's just that Lu Like Yin is not a robot. Can you repeat? Right now, when they heard Lu Like Yin continuing the same topic, the live comments couldn't stand it anymore. I suggest that Mr. Kai and Ms. Lu break up immediately. Does anyone have any comments? Why? With a repeater, I still like to see Lu fall in love, but I can't get any more. I text Kai Ca every day. When will he finally be able to see my wishes? I still don't like Liu's smile like Yin. Can I make her cry a little? When will Mr. Kai release the textbook? I'm still waiting for the textbook to love. I advise those who are waiting for the textbook to give up. It's not like you love someone at home. As stupid as Lu and Yin, the person who will suffer will be you at that time. Isn't this also a loss of face? Over here, Lang Mian is still waiting for my answer. Mr. Kai, Can you really teach me to love? After a while of thinking, I could only answer one question. There is no textbook, just one sentence. Sincerity is the secret. Everything. After the broadcast ended, Lu Liqian climbed into my assistant's car and then very naturally entered my house. As soon as I opened the door, someone rushed into my lap. The door was quickly closed and locked. The sofa had a few wrinkles, but was quickly smoothed out. Water droplets dripped from wet hair that had not yet been dried. The feeling of cold eyes tickles like life, but I cause each one to shiver. Lips and teeth are imprisoned. No sound can be emitted. Badat, did you understand correctly this time? Obviously knowing I couldn't answer, but still deliberately asking. Did not receive an answer, continued to probe. This time it was clearly intentional. The eyebrows were pressed against the bright moon face. The last step was a bit uncomfortable. The wind of the sky was blown away in the ears. The last words rang out. I love you.